Zulema Hart, 28, risk analyst, youngest daughter in a family that worships appearances and punishes weakness. That's me, the quiet one who built their financial safety net while being treated like an afterthought. In a house where my sister was the star and my parents were the judges, I learned early how to disappear, how to be useful without being seen. I told myself it didn't hurt. I told myself it was fine. But when your own mother leaves a voicemail telling you never to come back, something inside you finally breaks. I didn't know then that it wasn't just rejection. It was the first move in a game designed to erase me. And by the time they started begging me to return, the damage was already done. The voicemail came in between 2 audits and a flat cup of vending machine coffee. The tone was clipped, emotionless. You're out. Don't come back. We're moving on without you. I blinked once, pressed pause. Not a glitch, not a joke, no stutter, no hesitation, just a sentence sharp enough to draw blood. I didn't call back. I didn't scream. I texted one word, okay. Then I started moving. Log in. Family LLC portal. Permissions revoked. Mortgage pre-approval. Cancelled. Retirement trust structure I built for them? Frozen, pending investigation. No one gets to steal from the bank after firing the banker, I muttered, locking every financial backdoor they didn't know they were leaning on. When the coffee went cold, so did their future. Next morning, buzz, buzz, buzz. 46 missed calls. Mom, Dad, unknown numbers. I played the new voicemail on speaker while getting dressed. This is Malik Farrer, counsel for Silas and Maureen Hart. Miss Hart, we need to speak immediately. There's a serious complication regarding the LLC restructuring. Please return my call. Translation. You pulled a pin we didn't know existed, and now everything's falling apart. I tied my hair back. No makeup. No need to impress ghosts. 3 text messages appeared like roaches. From Maureen, this is a misunderstanding. Call me. From Silas, kiddo, we can fix this. Just talk to us. From Maureen again, we didn't mean it. Come home so we can explain. But I remembered the voice in that message. It didn't sound confused. It sounded clean. When people show you how fast they'll cut you loose, don't offer them rope when the floor vanishes. At work, Jenna rolled her chair toward my desk. You've been staring at that spreadsheet like it owes you money. Worse, I said. It owes me the truth. Family stuff, she asked. They said I was out, I replied. So I pulled the plug. She raised both eyebrows. They do know you are the plug, right? I gave a half smile. They're about to. She leaned in. Don't walk back your boundaries because they suddenly remember you're useful. When money's involved, guilt becomes currency. Noted. Around noon, I opened the building security app. Habit. A new feed clip from 6:12 a.m. Front entrance. My father. Hands buried deep in his pockets. Eyes staring up at my unit. He hesitated, reached for something, then turned and left. Didn't ring. Didn't knock. Didn't try. My chest tightened, but only for a moment. Then I hit Save Clip and dropped it into a folder marked Family Risk File. When people say goodbye with a knife, you don't hug them when they bleed. I was almost done for the day when Greg Serrano, my cousin on my dad's side, texted, Heard you pulled out of the triplex? You okay? Triplex. The property I had vetted, negotiated, and built the deal for. I stared at the screen. That word again. Pulled out. Overwhelmed. It wasn't mine. It sounded borrowed. Rehearsed. Like something someone else had said on my behalf. That night, I checked my cloud archive. A line of documents sat untouched until last night. 3:21 a.m. access. Attempt from an unrecognized device. Root folder. Mitchell Holdings, LLC. Subfolder, ownership structure. Target, operating agreement. A breath caught in my throat. I pulled the logs. The IP address traced back to a residential router. theirs. And I knew, in that moment, that this wasn't just emotional. It was strategic. This was a heist. This wasn't just exile. It was a setup. And I was about to find out who pulled the first string. Jenna's voice came low and sharp behind me. You're scanning that spreadsheet like it cheated on you. I didn't look up. Feels more like it robbed me. I tapped the last formula. Rechecked access logs again. One anomaly. A login attempt pinging at 3:21 a.m. An IP address I recognized. Dad's router. My throat tightened. Z, Jenna said, dragging her chair closer. You okay? I glanced sideways. They said I was out, so I'm treating it like a breach. She nodded slowly. When money's on the table, everyone turns into an actor. Guilt becomes theater. You can't trust what people say, only what they sign. That's what scares me. Click. Screen locked. Cut scene. Parking garage. Level B2. Cold metal scent. Lights buzz overhead like insects about to fry. Phone vibrated. A text from Greg Serrano. Heard you pulled out of the triplex? You okay? Pulled out. There it was again. Same phrasing from my mom. Same from Malik. Like a script. Like they'd rehearsed. I didn't answer. I drove. Fast. Jonas Travoa's office. Downtown Flagstaff. 8th floor. Marble lobby. Too polished, too quiet. Jonas opened the door himself. Claire, sorry, Zulema. Come in. I need answers, I said before I sat down. His smile faded. I figured this wasn't a coffee catch-up. I slid the ownership ledger across his desk. Did anyone try to change structure recently? He swallowed. I saw some draft documents, he said slowly. Your mother reached out. Said you were stepping back. That your sister might help handle some of the load. My stomach turned. She said you were overwhelmed. And you believed her? I asked, voice sharp. I didn't act on it, Jonas said. But I didn't stop it either. He stood, crossed to the file cabinet, pulled out a single page. Here's one version. Look at the bottom. I scanned fast. Managing members. Zulema Hart, Laura Stain pending. Signature line under my name, blank. My pen never touched this paper. Who submitted it? I asked. Faxed from a FedEx hub, he said. Flagstaff East. 11:03 p.m. Last Saturday. I was at home. Alone. I felt the floor tilt. They weren't trying to cut me out of the family. They were trying to walk in wearing my face. Cut scene. Tanti called as I was pulling out of Jonas' lot. You're not going to like this, she said. Try me. Loris called a friend of mine at Falcon Trust. Asked how to legally restructure a multi-member LLC if one party is under mental duress. My grip on the wheel hardened. She's laying groundwork. She's building a case, I said, where I'm unstable and she's the fix. Tanti didn't speak for a beat. She's good. I'll give her that. She's staging your disappearance before you've even gone. At home, I pulled up the family group thread. Nothing from Loris. Not one message. Not even a meme. She loved attention. She couldn't go 5 hours without it. And now silence. The kind of silence that smells like gasoline right before the match drops. I scrolled further. Dinner photo from last week. My mom tagged Loris in the caption. Couldn't do any of this without my right hand. Right hand. Another script line. Rain tapped my window. The clock hit midnight. I opened my encrypted vault. Folder. LLC operations. Legacy build. Subfolder. Triplex contracts. A ping. System warning. Unauthorized access attempt flagged. Location. 1337 Oakline Drive. Their house. Not just the router. Someone physically accessed a protected folder using a cloned device. A breath caught in my chest. This wasn't phishing. This was physical. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. I hit play. You've got your claws in everything, don't you? Well, let's see how sharp they stay when no one believes a word you say. Click. The voice was masked, artificial, but the tone was real, predatory. I reached for my stun keychain, checked the front door, locked, checked the balcony, empty. But something shifted. The air, like breath behind a curtain, like noise waiting to happen. I whispered aloud to myself, paranoia is only wrong if nothing happens. Then I grabbed my laptop, packed every legal doc into a hard drive, and loaded it into the floor safe. Because if they were going to erase me, they'd have to come through steel to do it. They didn't just cut me out. They buried a fuse. Now I'm going to light it. I titled the folder Family Risk File, dragged in the LLC logs, the voice message, the unauthorized access screenshot, and the scanned fake signature. Then I locked my apartment door, twice. No one was coming for my things. They were coming for my name. Morning hit like a slap. I got to the office early. Before the sun. Before the emails. Laptop open. VPN up. I logged into the backup server Jonas had helped me set up when the LLC was still just a plan. Before Loris cared about real estate, the folder flickered, then failed. Error. File missing, last edited. 3:21 a.m. Same time as the IP breach. Same folder. Gone. Cutscene. I called Jonas. Straight to voicemail. Called again. Nothing. I typed fast. Server wiped. Backup's gone. Confirm if this was you. No reply. Instead, a text. Unknown number. No contact ID. You're running out of places to hide. Short. Blunt. Effective. I pushed back from my desk. Stood. Looked out the narrow window that framed the alley. Movement. A black SUV idling too long. Engine off. Driver inside. Sunglasses. It was cloudy. He wasn't smoking. Wasn't looking at a phone. Just waiting. Watching. I blinked. Gone. Fear's only irrational if you ignore the evidence, I muttered. And I've got plenty. Tanti called. You've got a new problem. Define new. A trust filing under your mom's maiden name just popped up. Registered yesterday. No direct tie to the LLC, but it lists a management service holding company out of Phoenix. I ran it. Let me guess, I said. Loris again. She's not listed directly, but one of the signatories matches the name of the notary who witnessed your parents' refinance last year. My pulse jumped. They were using legal ghosts to restructure reality. I went to the drawer, pulled out my passport, USB vault key, printed copies of everything still intact. Laptop into my bag. Time to move. I parked 2 streets down from my parents' house. Didn't text. Didn't knock. Just walked the sidewalk like I wasn't shaking. There were fresh tire tracks across the driveway, wider than my dad's truck. Someone knew. The porch lights were on. Daylight. Too bright. Curtains drawn too tight. I stepped to the side window. Silas in the hallway. Pacing. Maureen in the kitchen. Crying. Or pretending. And Loris. Standing at the living room entryway. Hands on her hips. Talking low. Fast. To someone I couldn't see. I circled around the back. The sliding glass door was cracked open. Why? I stepped inside. The tension snapped like a wire. Maureen froze mid-sentence. Silas spun. Loris turned slowly. Zulema, she said, smiling. No warmth. You weren't supposed to be here. Not shouldn't. Weren't. Like they'd timed something. Like I'd messed up a schedule. I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out the IP logs, printed, dropped them on the coffee table. Your router. Your house. My files. Silas looked pale. Maureen blinked fast, like she might faint. Loris? She didn't even flinch. We thought you were taking a break, she said smoothly. Mental health, burnout, all that. You seemed off. You mean I didn't roll over while you forged my name? Her smile cracked slightly. Maureen tried to speak. I cut her off. I've been surveilled, threatened. Jonas is missing. And a fake trust just appeared with your mom's maiden name. So unless one of you wants to call the FBI with me, you're going to explain exactly who else is involved. The air went dead. Then I heard it. The front door opening. Soft click. Footsteps. Slow. A man stepped in. Tan coat. No expression. He looked like someone who entered rooms where money changed hands, and nobody else asked how. Silas said nothing. Maureen stepped back. Loris smiled again. This time real. I told you, she said. And I realized, too late. If they're in on it, this isn't just betrayal. It's treason. Rain hammered the sidewalk. Neon reflections in puddles. I stood under the street lamp, watching the lights flicker. The house looked innocent. Too still. Inside, I knew. The strings pulled tighter than I'd imagined. I walked up the cracked stone path. The front door was open. Just a little. Like an invitation. I stepped in. The air was humid. Like someone had been cooking before midnight. Silence. I checked my phone. No signal. Perfect. Cut. Zulema. Maureen's voice trembled. In the kitchen. Her eyes wet, but not crying for me. For herself. Silas leaned against the counter, jaw tight. And Loris stood at the threshold, arms crossed, smirking. But behind her, another man. Tall. Broad shoulders. Black coat. Sunglasses indoors. He didn't move. Just watched. Then the lights clicked on. Bright. Too bright. All around. Bare bulbs. A sudden cinematic glare. Like a stage set for pressure. And my pulse spiked. Who the hell are you? I said. No answer. Just that smirk. Loris took a step forward. He's someone I met, she said slowly. Accidentally found his business card, she added, like a magician revealing the rabbit. I didn't buy it. Not for a second. The man finally spoke. Deep voice. Come. Miss Hart, he said. Please sit. I didn't. He reached into his coat, pulled out a tablet. Wireless connection. He swiped. Images popped up. Not random. My accounts. My emails. My private correspondence with Jonas. Timestamped. Tracked. Logged. And rerun through third-party servers. Accessible. No firewall could stop it now. Every move you made to protect yourself, he said, we already saw. Who are you? I said. He smiled like I already knew. Like I was supposed to. We represent the buyer, he said, of the trust. My stomach dropped. So it was real, I whispered. Yes, he said. Bought and paid for. Silence. Maureen began to shake. Please, she said. No, I said. I wasn't her child anymore. Loris stepped forward. You don't understand, she said. This isn't about family. It's about survival. Her eyes flicked to the man. He's helping us. I saw the twist unfold, like a slow-motion reveal. No, he wasn't helping them. He was using them. And that sentence hit me. False allegiance always precedes betrayal. A phrase I'd once read. I felt it settle under my ribs. The man turned off the tablet. He folded it like it was all routine. According to federal statute, he said, a signed trust overrides previous claims upon transfer. Legally true. Cinematically cruel. The floorboard creaked. A noise out of place. I froze. My foot. Wet. Glass. Crushed. My eyes tracked down. Shards glinting. Like broken promises. Bright. Unforgiving. We have everything in place, the man said. Closing in 20 minutes. He didn't mean negotiations. He meant control. Final. Silas stepped forward. His voice was small. I didn't know how deep it went. You let this happen, I said. No edge. Just fact. Simple. Then a new sound. Sirens. Far at first. Growing. Closer. Layered. Multiple. Cut scene. 2 blocks away. Police. Lights strobed red blue. Reflected in shattered glass. And I knew. Help wasn't coming for me. It was coming for them. Maureen collapsed to her knees. Tears. Not the kind you fake. Raw. Pain. I stood still. Zulema, she whispered. Please, please help us. I looked at the man in the black coat. No sympathy. No merci. Just truth. He turned to leave. Loris stepped after him, like a child chasing approval. I watched them go. I pulled out my phone. Signal returned. 1 bar. I dialed Tanti. Her voice sharp. Status. I'm in the house, I whispered. Trust's been transferred. Buyer's on the way. There's still a legal window, she said. Injunction. Emergency filing. You need to act now. Cut. I left the house. Door shut behind me. No echo. No farewell. Just rain. Pounding. Like a countdown. I drove. Nothing but tunnel vision. Laptop balanced on my knees. Hand steady. Fingers swift. I logged into the emergency injunction portal. Typed. Filed. Signed. Submitted. A progress bar blinked. 30%. 50%. Then. Confirmation. Temporary stay granted. Not permanent. But enough. I exhaled. Just once. A breath heavy and slow. Not relief. Not triumph. Not yet. Just acknowledgement. We're not done, I whispered. And somewhere behind me, the house sat silent, empty of trust, full of lies. Behind Laura's shoulder, I saw the front door open, and a man I'd never seen before stepped inside like he owned the place. Cold. Too cold. Like the air had been waiting for me to arrive. The stranger stood in the doorway as if he lived there, or had every right to. His eyes were hidden behind dark lenses. Indoors. At night. Like a guard waiting for an alarm. I didn't flinch. Not yet. You shouldn't be here, the man said with a tone that didn't belong in a house. I leaned back against the wall. I made myself at home. Laura smirked. Kaizen, she said. I blinked. His name was Kaizen, like a lesson I hadn't studied yet. Before I could ask why he knew my name, he already spoke again. We represent the buyer. The words hit like gunfire. Not a threat. A verdict. My pulse hammered. Buyer. Not a bank. Not a corporation. Something else. Something darker. Kaizen held up a tablet. Images flickered. Bank statements. Signed transfer forms. Trust certificates. All signed under my mother's maiden name. All executed last night. All before I even woke up. I took a breath. Slow. Steady. A mantra I had once lived by. A plan without execution is a wish. I never wished. I executed. According to the documents, Kaizen said, eyes never leaving mine, the transfer is legitimate. The trust is active. The buyer has full rights. The room felt thinner. Impossible. Not legal, but real. Laura stepped close. See, she whispered, I told you he could help. No remorse. No hesitation. Just confidence. I looked to Silas. His face was pale, like a discarded mask. Maureen stepped away. Tears didn't come. Not yet. Kaizen swiped the tablet. A new screen. Sales agreement. Date, time, signatures. All verified. All before midnight. Before my emergency injunction. Before I even knew. I swallowed. The law can be cruel, but it must also be broken to be rewritten. I tried logic. Then why the threats? The fake access? The texts? Kaizen didn't smile, only narrowed his gaze. Because you were the firewall. Without that leverage, the process would have stalled. Leverage. I echoed. Yes. And it's gone. Silence. So loud it roared. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't want to see it, but I did. You should walk away while you still can. No signature, but the fear was familiar. That same low undertone, like someone watching every keystroke. Then the front door clicked. Slow, deliberate, silence stretched, and then footsteps, heavy, approaching. My breath cut off. I turned. Someone else was behind Kaizen. A woman. Tall. Blonde. Face sharp like rain-slick glass. Eyes cold. She stepped forward. Did you really think you had control? She asked. Her voice wasn't loud. Just precise. Like a scalpel sliding between ribs. Her presence tightened the air. I backed up a step. Not out of fear. Out of calculation. You orchestrated this, I said, eyes flicking between them. She chuckled. No, she did. Her gaze landed on Loris. That smirk disappeared, replaced by something thinner, sharper. Regret? Maybe, but only just. You used laws as weapons, I said. You used trust as bait. Silas gasped. Maureen flinched. Loris blinked, but this time unevenly. Not confident. Edgy. Uncertain. The woman stepped closer. You didn't see the bigger picture, she said, because you were focused on the smallest threat. I felt it then. A new panic. A new layer. Not just family betrayal. Corporate exploitation. Someone bigger. Someone watching. Kaizen took a step back. His mask slipped. For a moment. Just a flicker. Then back in place. Legal doesn't mean ethical, he said. But even he didn't sound convinced. I narrowed my eyes and thought, we see what we are trained to see, but reality hides in peripheral vision. A quote I'd read once, never believed until now. Then came the sound. Sirens. Not one pair. Many. Multiple directions. Climbing closer. Not for me. Not yet. But closing in. And the blonde woman's eyes widened just slightly. Just enough. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown. I opened it. Photo. The living room. Same house. But empty. Frame frozen. And then a timestamp next to it. 5 minutes ago. I hadn't been alone. They weren't either. A slow chill crawled up my spine. Not fear. Recognition. They were not just playing chess. They were rewriting the board. And I was still a piece. Not the queen. Not yet. Just a pawn with a target on her back. If they're in on it, this isn't just betrayal. It's treason. The air smelled like rain and cold concrete. I sat in my car, headlights cutting through the storm. Fingers danced over the keyboard. Screen lit my face like a surgeon's lamp. Sirens faded in the distance. Not for me yet, but closing in. My phone buzzed. Tanti. Status. Temporary stay granted. I mouthed to myself, heart pounding. Good, she said. Emergency injunction is active, but it's not a permanent fix. I didn't respond. Every second counted. Thunder rolled. I pulled out of the driveway 2 streets over. Headlights washed over puddles like mirrors breaking. A reflective quote crept into my head. The enemy is not outside. It's the assumptions we make about safety. I didn't feel safe. Not yet. I drove to the station. Not to surrender. To claim ground. Police cars lined the entrance. Red and blue reflections jumping off wet pavement. I stepped out. Rain hit like shards. Inside the station, I placed the files on the counter. Physical copies. Signed affidavits. Unauthorized access logs. Signed emails from Loris recommending the trust transfer. I watched the officer thumb through pages. Eyes flicking. Facial muscles tightening. Then he looked up. Federal case, he said. Unauthorized alteration of trust documents. Possible criminal charges. My breath hitched. Not civil anymore. Criminal. The officer motioned. Detective Nolan will take it from here. Nolan was a hard face. Cold eyes. Gravitas like steel. He didn't smile. He just said, "We caught wind of something bigger. A shell company front. Numerous fraudulent transactions. Flagged last night. Loris is connected." I asked. He didn't answer. Just slid a manila folder across the desk. Inside, photos. Time-stamped. Loris meeting with Kaizen at a hotel bar. Late night. Documents exchanged. Coffee cups still warm. Evidence. That's not all, Nolan said. Maureen and Silas signed statements confessing they were influenced by Loris. They believed you planned to cut them off financially. My stomach hit the floor. Believed? They told us, Nolan said. They thought it was true. I exhaled. A slow breath. Not relief. Not yet. Just oxygen returning to lungs. I stepped outside. Rain soaked me, but I didn't care. I looked up. Dark sky. Lightning cracked, like the world split open. And then I heard it. A new buzz. Text. Unknown. Photo. My apartment door. Smashed. Glass on the floor. Inside, laptop gone. Hard drive missing. Temporary relief evaporated. I punched the air. Hard. I'd thought winning meant stopping others. But maybe winning meant facing the truth. Nothing is safe until it's separated from fear. I wasn't safe, but I wasn't running. Inside the station, Nolan appeared. "I'll authorize a search," he said. "We need that drive." "What's on it?" "Everything you backed up, including that encrypted folder." I cursed under my breath. "They're trying to erase every copy." Nolan nodded. "Then we act before they do." I watched through the rain-streaked glass as they put out the APB. Landmarks. Streets. Possible escape routes. Then I saw her. Loris. Standing across the street. Half hidden behind an abandoned delivery truck. Eyes wide. Not scared. Hungry. She locked eyes with me. A flicker. Recognition. And then she ran. Cut. We chased. Not and turned corners. Through industrial alleys. Spray paint on brick. Rusted metal. Footsteps echoed. Thump thump. My breath cut into short gasps. And suddenly she tripped. Fell hard. Face hit pavement. Blood. Twisted. I reached her just as she tried to rise. Hand out. She whispered. "They told me." Her voice faded. Then another buzz. From my agent. "Tanti again. They traced the hard drive to a storage locker. We can secure it." I exhaled slow. A long release. Not victory, but balance. Sirens grew louder. Police rounding blocks. Flashlight beams cutting sharp. Nolan arrived. Gun drawn, cautious, ready. "Zulema," he said, "official now, no bishop of family, just ally. Let's get that drive." We walked back to the car. Rain slowed, but tension remained. It wasn't over. Not really. Weeks later, in court, the judge read evidence. Fraud rings. Document tampering. Intent to defraud. Sentencing guidelines. Loris sat in the defendant's chair. Hair pulled back, eyes hollow. Not lashes. Not cries. Just stark reality. Justice doesn't always heal. It just balances the scale. Outside the courthouse, I stepped into sunlight. Cold wind against my face. I looked up at the sky. Blue. Clear. Unpredictable. I thought, courage isn't absence of fear. It's determination despite it. And I had learned something deeper. Family isn't a title. It's truth. It's accountability. It's the courage to stand when bonds fracture. My parents approached. Maureen's voice was tentative. "Please come back." But I already saw the lines in their faces. Not just regret. Understanding. A shift. Real. I didn't step forward. Not yet. Instead, I laid down conditions. Clear boundaries, legal oversight, no access without unanimous consent, no hidden actions, no shadows, only truth. They agreed. Silas' sigh was raw, relief and remorse tangled. Mom nodded, tears not of pity, but of honesty. We rebuilt, piece by piece. Not everything returned to what it was. Not all wounds fully sealed, but trust regained footing. And I realized, you can love and still protect yourself. In that moment, clarity wasn't mercy. It was survival. And the world, cold and chaotic as it was, with all its threats and betrayals, it had taught me one final lesson. Truth can be weaponized, but boundaries are shields. And now I stood behind mine,